Hello and good evening and welcome back to GEG Delhi NCR's channel, and I am Sanchita Ghosh, co-lead and share captain of GEG Delhi NCR. We're very excited today. We've got something really super exciting lined up for you, and I know our viewer number count is increasing. Many of you have responded back to our messages, to our posts on social media, to newsletters which have gone out as to how excited you are about today's session. I'm also going to welcome in Vibha. Vibha?
Hello everyone. Good evening. How are you? I hope everything is fine. I hope all's good at the work front and the home front. So really super excited for this session today.
Yeah. Today's session, as you all know, we're going to be talking about geo tools with Nathan Gildart from Japan. We're just waiting for him to hop in.
Yeah.
And we will start with the proceedings. But before that, Vibha, what do you think about Google Geo tools? What are they? I mean, do you have a clue?
No, absolutely no clue. Just from the name, I am a maths teacher, and from the name, I was thinking that, okay, this must be something geography teachers use. But I've been told that no, it has much more possibilities. So I'm actually waiting to actually learn about how can I use it in my maths class, or how can anybody else use it in their class. So yeah, I don't have a lot of clue. I don't know too much about geo tools. What do you know about it?
Well, a little bit more than you, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
So Google Geo Tools includes a lot of different apps which Google has developed over the years. Starting, of course, with Google Maps. Google Maps then diversified into Google My Maps, which can be customized.
Yeah.
So whether you want to travel from point A to point B and you want to create a direction map, you can use Google My Maps. Google Earth has been a project in the making for many, many years. I remember using Google Earth when you could only download it into your computer and you couldn't quite use it, on the cloud, as it were. And it was really very clunky. And I know I hated it for many years, actually, till it actually reinvented itself. Google reinvented Google Earth. And today, I think it's one of the more exciting projects that Google has worked on in recent years. And of course, who doesn't know about Google Arts and Culture? In fact, the mobile app is more exciting than the one that you have on the cloud, or you might want to download onto your computer. But the mobile app is super duper cool. I've been playing around with it. Some of you may have seen a reel or two which I've put out.
Yes, that's what I have also seen.
Google Arts and Culture. So, and as you said, Vibha, for a lot of teachers who are not teaching geography in particular, we often don't know what its use could be in a non-geography, a non-social science classroom. Yeah. And we've recently had Kaushal Sen. I don't know whether he's joined us today.
Yes.
He showed us how Google Earth can be used in a mathematics classroom, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, all of us, whatever subject we teach, we could be language teachers, we could be maths or science teachers. School excursions, study trips was something that was such an integral part of the teaching and learning experience. I know we planned those weeks in advance, taking permissions, asking our other subject teachers not to be angry with us because we were taking the kids away for an entire day and they would miss classes. And I think COVID-19 makes me miss that the most, the fact that we were able to go to a museum. I would often start a new concept sitting, on the floor in the museum. And we would, set up a kind of a treasure hunt that, okay, we'll give them a few hints that you have to actually go and find what's at the end of that challenge. And I know my students look forward to it. I look forward to it whenever we did that. But I think COVID-19 really hit us hard there. I think despite of all the online teaching and whatever, all of these hardworking teachers that you've all done, and it's so amazing when you look at teachers, whether they have access to technology, whether they were beginners, whether they struggle with internet even. I think there's been so much innovation in individual classrooms, in individual experiences as well, and so much of sharing has happened. And I think our GEG Delhi also started I think we launched in October last year, and we were kind of in the middle of being teaching from home and connecting with the students from home. And I think our community has grown in leaps and bounds. I don't have a final count, but I know we have more than 350 members in Instagram. On Facebook, I think we recently crossed 700.
It's more than 700.
And so I think there might be
about 700 on YouTube as well.
We're closing, and then we've got so many on WhatsApp who may not have joined us on any of the other social media platforms. But I think we are inching towards 1,000 members soon. And just to talk to our audience, how could you register if you want to? I'll just put on a few tickers so you'll get a few ideas as to where all we are. We're also on Twitter, by the way. I'm not sure how many followers we have on Twitter, but that's a sizable number as well. If you're not already on Twitter, make a profile, make an account.
Yes.
And I think among all the social media platforms, I think Twitter is the strongest as far as education is concerned. But Instagram is catching up soon.
Right.
A lot of my learning actually happens on social media.
Instagram.
Our website is also going down at the bottom. Let me see if I can at one point put in the link as well in the chat. I'll try to do that.
Should I put it?
Or if you go to Google and search GEG DelhiNCR, all of our stuff will pop up, right? You can do that as well. If you go to our website, there's a registration link there as well. But you can pick up this link from here, bit.ly /GEG DelhiNCR register, and a form opens up. You can register with us, and those of you who are new here and don't quite know what GEG stands for, it's Google Educators Group. And Vibha, if you could just walk us through what are Google Educators Group and what do they do? What do we do?
So Google Educator Groups are actually there all over the world. They exist all over the world, and very, very proud of the fact that India is quickly catching up. We have quite a few GEGs in India now as well. So what exactly are GEGs? They're Google Educators Group. They are groups of educators in different cities, in different countries, who just come together and try to learn from each other. So again, I'm very sure all educators are here with us today, and this is something nobody can deny, that this is where we actually learn. From each other's experiences, that, okay, how did you do this topic in your class, or how did you conduct so and so activity in your class, etc., etc. So this is a platform, and it's a free platform. It's a voluntary platform. So it is free, and it will always be free. There's no levels to it.
So, free to join, free to participate, free to learn.
Absolutely. Free to present. So if you feel like you are somebody who would want to share your knowledge with somebody, with others, if you feel like, okay, this XYZ tool and you want to present that tool with us, so please feel free to contact any of us. Feel free to contact our Twitter page, our Instagram page, our Facebook page, or all four of us are the team members. Please feel free to do that, and we would really love to have you present on one of our sessions, just like Nate is doing today. And we would really like that. And this is how GEGs work. As I said, educators come up, educators present, and educators learn from each other. So this is what GEGs are all about. So again, if you are interested, as I mentioned, that there are a few other GEGs in India as well. So if you're interested in learning in your particular regional language, you might want to explore that as well. There are other GEGs as well. As Sanchita ma'am just said, just type in GEG India or GEG Delhi NCR. You'll find a lot of other GEGs of our country as well. So and this is what GEGs are.
Yeah, and also to say that these are at one time they were localized because we were all in an offline world, and the
Yeah.
idea was to have regular meetups where we could all meet over a cup of coffee, perhaps catch up, maybe do a picnic or two. But since we all went online, during the COVID era, I think the boundaries have expanded. In fact, now there are no boundaries. I believe there are no boundaries,
Definitely.
and we were also
There are.
very fortunate to start at a time when the Asia Pacific region of GEG, they got together. A lot of the GEGs, in fact, there are hundreds of GEGs now across the Asia Pacific region, and the idea was to get together and do a 3-day program simultaneously in multiple languages to reach
Absolutely.
out to the local educators as well. So like we got Hindi, we presented in Hindi.
Yeah.
We've had two such experiences, one in December and one in the beginning of July. I know many of you had joined us then. In fact, some of you had even presented with us. So there was so much learning, especially I can see Rashmi Dhawan ma'am is here, so a shout out to you. And I've always held
Namrata
this.
Singh ma'am is also here. She
Yes,
was also one
yes,
of our presenters.
yes. And I've always held that our special needs children
Yeah.
can gain so much, and our special needs teachers would gain so much if they use some of these ICT tools to connect with their students, to enhance their learning experiences. And I've worked with a fair number myself in the past, and
Yeah.
I have seen how Google tools has really changed the way the students are working. They're so much more confident. To just give you one example, a lot of my students who come to me are dyslexic. They have trouble writing. They get writers, for their examinations and assessments. But what to do when they have regular assignments, written assignments? Like mine is a very writing heavy sort of,
Yeah.
work. And
Yeah.
I was like always wondering how to get them to write, how to get them to express what they've understood. So my first journey with them was Google Docs and the dictation tool in Google Docs, and I just loved it. And in the beginning, it was super glitchy. You would say something, it would type out something else, and I was like super frustrated. And I would be like, okay. Then I would tell my students, you can
That
type,
has
right? So you
improved a
type,
lot. Yeah.
and I think yes, and it now picks up multiple accents as well. Earlier, it
Yeah.
didn't pick up the Indian accent so well, but in the last couple of months, I've seen pretty accurate. I might just have to go in and add a couple of perhaps a full stop or a comma
Comma
here
and
and
full
there.
stop.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Otherwise, it's really, really, efficient. Then, if you look at other ICT tools, I mean, just because we're GEG doesn't mean that we don't talk about other ICT tools. Flipgrid, for example, is again super powerful. A lot of children who may have trouble speaking up in public, in
Yes.
front of their peers, they often find it more comforting and comfortable to record a video of their response and
Yeah.
then share that. So I've seen so many of my quieter students have really come out. Their speaking skills have improved. And it's also life skills. How to script my
Yes.
portion that I have to speak out. So should I write it down? Or there are certain children who find it difficult to stop. They don't know when to stop. So I would set a video limit to 2.5 minutes. So whatever you have to say it in 2.5 minutes, or 1 minute, or 30 seconds. So they'd really work on their script, and they could really bring it, under control, that their script under control, and say the entire story in a minimum amount of words. So there, with your communication skills,
That's true.
language skills, especially if you're a language teacher, Hindi, English, any other foreign languages, Sanskrit even, the possibilities
Yes.
are endless. And I know in Flipgrid, mathematics teachers also use it a great deal, where they ask their students
Yes.
to hold up that piece of paper and show them how they reached a certain conclusion. When they are attempting a certain mathematical operation. So I think Vibha
That's
has
also.
experimented with that a lot with her middle
Yes.
schoolers. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, when we were offline, we used to have projects like, okay, you do this project and then you come back and you present it. How did you do it? uh, Certain things, you have to create something, or you have to do more. Of course, projects are more than our curriculum, not just our syllabus. So this is where Flipgrid can be used. You can use it for presentations. For, let's say, you're trying to uh, you're trying to have some presentations, you're trying to ask the students, how did you do this project? So this is where you can set, as Sanchita ma'am said, you can set a time limit of 1 minute and say that, okay, in 1 minute, explain me how did you do this project, and what material did you use in this project, and what was the inspiration behind this project, and things like that. There's a project which we do for our sixth graders, where we talk about math in our environment, math in our surroundings. So they just have to capture, okay, where I can see a perpendicular line near my door, I can see a parallel line somewhere, etc., etc. So they just have to find out, they just have to identify where are the mathematical concepts being used in our actual surroundings. So this is, I'm very sure this is a very common project. A lot of schools must be doing this. So this is again something which can be used, which can be done using Flipgrid. So the child can make small videos and put it in Flipgrid and explain alongside. Actually, maybe take the camera along, and maths is everywhere. You know, you take 2 steps and you will find a perpendicular line, you will find a parallel line, etc., etc. So Flipgrid it's a great thing to do all such projects. And as Sanchita ma'am mentioned, it's a great way to give voice to your students. And that reminded me of your session, Sanchita ma'am, the moat session.
Oh, I love that.
Pretty perfect way to give voice to your students. Again, whether it's special students, whether it's your other students, it's just giving voice to your students. If you feel like, okay, even for language teachers, you feel like you want to explain this particular pronunciation to your students, you can do that through moat. So if all the tools that we are mentioning, if you did not catch all these tools, if you did not catch the sessions on all these tools, make sure you go to our YouTube channel. You'll find a playlist there, which has all the sessions that we did in July. And all these tools were mentioned there. All these tools were discussed there. So do make sure you check them out. And this is something we are all struggling with when we are teaching online, that how do we get our students to participate? How do we get our students to interact? So these tools are pretty helpful for doing that. So
Yes, and I think we've also been excited about, like you mentioned, moat. Moat is wonderful, and in this online environment, I joke with my students sometimes, because there are some students who are, for various reasons, unable to switch on their camera during class. And because I teach high school, I've never seen them before. Right. So when they've come into class 11, I've not taught them in class 10. So I really didn't know them at all. So I sometimes joke with them that if you speak to me, either when we're on our Google Meet or, speak to me via Moat, if I encounter you somewhere, I'll know you by your voice, even if I don't recognize by your face. So that's always a way to connect. And as I said, every time we speak, what I write and what I speak, the speaking, the inflection, the feeling that I have when I'm speaking, that comes out so much more effectively when we're using Moat. And in the same vein, then there's Wakelet. Wakelet, of course, is growing even more powerful. I think they are getting very soon an Adobe Spark integration as well. I was so super excited when they got in Flipgrid, but now they have Adobe Spark coming in as well. So that's super interesting. We've had some sessions on Wakelet in the past. I know some of you have been part of it. And perhaps we'll have a few more sessions on some creative use of Wakelet as well. What I can see is that I think Nate might be having some trouble at his end. He's not able to join in. So what we'll do is we'll do a quick activity. I'm not an expert like Nate. My knowledge of Google Geo tools is so much more limited than, of course, what Nate would have shown you. We are into our 18th minute of the broadcast. So I think it's a good opportunity to at least start working with a few things. It might give you, those of you who are not social science or geography teachers, some ideas as to what you could do with this activity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a link, and I'm going to share that in the chat. And I'd like all of you who are attending. All right, so I can see it's up on YouTube, but it's not on Facebook. Vibha, are you on Facebook right now? If you could just copy this link and pop it over at Facebook. So there are many who joined us from Facebook as well. This is basically Google My Maps. Again, we had a session on Google My Maps in the July APAC sessions. And we had a fun time, but because we ran out of time, we really couldn't do a practical application of it. And we couldn't really demonstrate the power of what Google Maps can do for you. Yeah, there it is on Facebook as well. So
Yeah.
let's see. Vibha, why don't you also join in? So
Just
basically, let me also present my screen so that we can all be part of this activity. Okay. I think I should share only my window. A lot of things on my computer which I'm not sure I would want to be showing up on public. All right. Okay, I'm going to go in here. Okay, I think my screen is visible to all.
yes, all okay.
So those of you who are already familiar, you know what to do. If you aren't, basically what I'd like us to do together is say, where are you from? So what is your native place? A lot of us might be living in Delhi today, but is there a place that you call your native place, a place you go back where your family hailed from, or maybe your ancestral land in a certain sense? I'd like you to drop a pin where your native land is. Like for example, my native land is actually in present day Bangladesh. That is where my parents come from. Post independence, they moved in here, and well, we've been here ever since. So what you need to do is just look at this pin here, click on that, okay, and you can drop a pin at your native place.
Okay, we
Alternatively,
just drag that pin.
yeah, alternatively, yes, you
Okay.
can even drag that pin, or just just click anywhere on the screen after you click this balloon. Alternatively, if you're not sure exactly what the location is, you can actually type out the location here. So for example, if somebody is from Coimbatore, for example, you can just type in the little search bar within my maps, click on what's relevant to you, and the system automatically drops a pin here. I'd like you then to add this to the map. Okay, once you've added this to the map, I'd also like you to add a few more things. For example, an image that really represents that place. So I'm not sure what's special about Coimbatore, but I can always do a Google image search, and I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yeah, yeah, all good.
Yeah, I can click Coimbatore and let's see what Google Images throws up for me. Okay, so it seems there is this very interesting landmark now in Coimbatore. So I can just click that. Maybe that defines my city currently. Okay. Oops. Yeah. So I've got Coimbatore here and I click on save. And that's it. I might want to change the color of my pin if I want. I usually love maroon the best. I don't like blue so much.
How did
And
you
I
add
can
the
say,
image, Sanchita ma'am? You clicked on edit and
yeah,
added the image, right?
no, not edit. Actually, there's this little camera icon you will see at the bottom. You can just click on that and it'll open
Okay, got it.
a search window for you. You can upload from your system if you have a photograph on your device itself. Or like I say, I go into Google image search. It always throws up
Yeah,
images which I
throws a
can
better. Yeah.
reuse. Yeah. So there are no copyright issues happening there. So I always put up images which you own, which you have taken yourself, or you have permission to use, or you can always use Google search from within these apps so that you can have free to use and free to reuse images as well. Right. So I'm hoping others have joined us on the map and they're sharing their place as well. If I go into point 1, which I had first, yeah, I'm actually from, oops. Okay, I'm going to delete this because I'm going to tell you where exactly I'm from. My parents are from a place called Mymensingh in Bangladesh, in present day Bangladesh. So I've dropped my pin here. I'll add it to my map. I'll include a picture. I'm not sure what Mymensingh looks like. I've never been there. My father's been there once in his adulthood, but I have never been there. It's my dream, though, to go and see my native place. All right. So, okay, this looks like a bustling city today. My father came more from a rural part of Mymensingh. I can, let's say, pick this one up. It looks like a heritage building. I am a history teacher, so I love heritage buildings. And what you could do is at the bottom, you will see this little description box. You can always write your name in here so I know. So we all know where each one of us is from. And I click on save. All right, let's see. Do we have any more pins? I definitely encourage all our participants to try this. If the link is not working, do let us know. I think the link
Link
should
is
be active
working,
because,
Sanchita ma'am. That's what I was about to ask. How do we get to see each other? Since I mean, I have added my pin,
okay,
but
yeah,
I can't
just
see it on
refresh.
your map.
Yes, so what you
Okay.
can do is you can just reload the screen, your page, sorry, and see.
Yeah,
Oh
I can
wow,
see two
we've
other.
got
Yeah.
someone from Sialkot, so welcome. And we have
Yes.
another person who's joined us from Coimbatore. So yeah, okay, wonderful, wonderful. Do put in your name so that we know who is joining us from where. And if you can't see the other people's pins, as I said, just reload
Just
the
refresh.
page.
All right.
And
Yeah.
yes, yes, wonderful. So as of now, my screen shows up 4 spaces. Let's see who has joined us from Sialkot. If I click on this,
That's me.
that's you. Oh,
My
lovely, lovely.
grandparents are from,
Your
yeah.
grandparents from Sialkot. Okay, and
Yeah.
this would be the clock tower there.
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
seems
again,
like the
I've
clock
never
tower
been,
there.
so yeah.
Yeah, and let's see who's from New Delhi.
There's no name as of now.
Yes, I think they might still be working on that, so we'll give
Right.
that a little bit of time. And let's see who else is from Coimbatore, the blue Coimbatore. Let's see. I think our participant, our guest from Coimbatore, is also probably still working
Okay,
on that.
we also have the option to change the color of our pin. That's nice.
Yes, you can even
I
change
didn't
the
know.
icon if you want. So, anyone getting any
Oh, yes,
ideas,
right.
put it in the chat that how could we use this with our
I
students?
maybe talk about food with them and use the food icon and
Yeah.
especially our younger children when we talk about different regional foods with them. So that's a way you
Or
can
you
do
could
that.
create a map. You could create a travel itinerary for someone. So let's say someone says that
Yes,
I'm going on 2 week. I'm planning a 2 week tour. Let's say to Europe. COVID is over and we are all
absolutely.
traveling again. And I want to plan a 2 week tour to Europe. Which are the places I should stop by? What are the
Yeah.
landmarks I should see? Right. So that's one. So if you're a language teacher, for example, you could use that. Add this as an additional element. In fact, I didn't tell you, you can even add videos into your pins. So for example, I could just go into my pin here, click on that, again use the camera icon, and you can see I also have a YouTube search option.
Search.
So I can always say, okay, what's the history of Mymensingh, for example? And let's see what YouTube tells me. Of course, I've not seen any of these videos. It's always good as a teacher to first vet the video yourself
First,
because
yeah.
we don't want to be putting anything inappropriate for our kids. And I would probably pick up a short video. And I could say, okay, this is a 5-minute one. So I'm going to click this one, select, and now the video is going to load here. And I can play the video from within this block. I don't have to go into another tab. Right? So I can play the video from here itself. I have the image as well, and you can add quite a few. You can use the plus sign to add more images, more videos. So in the chat, if our participants could share with us, what kind of ideas you are kind of getting.
Sanchita ma'am, we can't hear you. I think let me just give her a call. I think we cannot hear her. There must be some issue at her end as well. So apologies from our side. There is something wrong at Nathan's end. He is not able to join in today. So as we just decided to give you a small tour about what are geo tools, and that's what we were trying to do. So just giving you a small idea, and as Sanchita ma'am is speaking, I am also exploring alongside. Even I had no idea how can we use geo tools. So let's see this. And as I said, Nathan will not be able to join us today. There is there's some unavoidable reason with him, and we'll definitely come back with the same session. I am pretty excited, and if you are here, I'm very sure this concept, this tool has gotten you very excited. I'm very very excited. As I'm speaking to you, I'm trying to explore it alongside. So it's a pretty great way to actually You can also have, let's say, you can also have some ice breaking activities on such a tool where you can oh great. That
Yeah, I lost
I was
electricity
just,
for a couple of
yeah.
seconds. So yes, happens.
Yeah,
But
so
just,
I was
yeah,
just saying that we can have ice breaking activities as well from these things. As I said, maybe let's talk about, we can also talk to our kids about uh, what food do you like, from which region, which food do you like, etc. So such activities can be created. And as I was mentioning, Sanchita ma'am, I don't know if you heard, I was just mentioning that Nathan will not be able to join us today, and we just decided to give you a very small tour and a very small a quick peek into the tool. So this is what our thing is for today, and we will definitely come back with Nathan's proper session.
yes.
We are no experts. I have absolutely no clue. Sanchita ma'am still knows, and Nathan, of course, is an expert on this. We will definitely come back with a proper session on this.
Right. So just to say, I've just refreshed my map. I hope you can all see it. I've just
Yeah,
refreshed the map, and I can see
we
we
can see.
have
Yeah,
someone from Sialkot. So this is also अच्छा नहीं Sialkot तो हम देख चुके हैं. Sorry.
that's
Let's look at Jalgaon. That is in Maharashtra. I think we are still working on that. Let's see Dera Ismail Khan.
that's so interesting.
Right. One of the things that I do with my students, so if you are teaching history or geography, this is super powerful. I'm going to stop presenting for a bit. It's a super powerful tool. I did hear Vibha talking about using this as an icebreaker. Whether you are in with your students, or even if you're handling, I know because some of you also conduct PD workshops, professional development workshops for teachers. So you can
Yeah,
always use this activity as an icebreaker, getting to know each other better. But when you talk about academic uses of this, like something that I do with my students is that we have a lot of map work in grade 12, right? And a lot of content. History is very heavy content. So I use Google My Maps. We have multiple layers. You can actually add more layers also. So the more you play with this, you'll discover more. When you add more layers, so I assign a layer to each student. Each My Map can take 10 layers. So I'll usually use maybe 2 or 3 maps in that session. And each student gets one layer to work on, and each student is working on a certain chapter or a certain concept in that. And I encourage them to add in as much material as they can. So there'll be images, there'll be videos. So often my students, at the end of the year, they'll say, our notes are ready. We've not had to write down any notes, but all our revision material is ready. So all I have to do maybe,
yeah,
that last day before the exam, I don't need to open my books. I just go into my
that's
maps and I look at, these points, and not just the map revision is done, but also all my content is ready. So if I'm
yeah.
doing a bricks, beads, and bones, which is on Harappan civilization, we've marked all the important sites. Why is each of those sites important? What is the overall perspective of the Harappan civilization? So all of that comes alive. If you're teaching geography, let's say you want to do something like, what is known as the Ring of Fire. Around the Pacific, you have these live volcanoes. So mark those
Right.
live volcanoes along with your students. And as you all experimented, and I know some of you have played around with the fact that you can change the icons. Um,
Yes,
you can change the
I
icons to
can
make
see
it
that.
look like a
Yeah.
volcano. There is a volcano icon as well. There are volcano icons. If you want a beach holiday, or you might say, okay, what are the 10 best beach destinations? I mean, I am really actually looking forward to a vacation
Don't tempt.
to be.
Don't tempt.
So yes, I might make a bucket list of the top 10 beaches I want to go to, once all of the COVID restrictions are
That's
gone
true.
and we are back to
Yeah.
to normal life. um, or if you want to do something like the progress of monsoons, I mean, we watch,
Yeah.
Indians watch with bated breath, when is it hitting Kerala? Acha, ab aa gaya Maharashtra tak. Acha, abhi Madhya Pradesh bhi cover kar liya. Delhi kab pahunchega? Acha, Delhi pahunch to gaya, but barish nahi aa rahi hai. So even an activity and a monsoon watch you can do
Yeah.
with your students using Google My Maps, because in My Maps you can add shapes, you can add lines. So you can always say, okay, how is the monsoon progressing from week 1 to week 2? And then, of course, the receding monsoons, right? That also, how is the recent the receding monsoons going away? So that will help. That might help you to explain why Tamil Nadu actually does not get so much rain during what is known as a monsoon for India, but actually when it's receding. Okay, it gets more autumn rain rather than the summer rain that we might get in most parts of India. Thank you, Sangeeta, ma'am. Yeah, I mean, I'm truly feeling very sad that Nathan did get stuck in some unavoidable situation, and he has promised to be back very soon. So we will definitely put up something. So yeah, now if we talk about Google Earth, for example, so I'll just pop into Google Earth, and in case there are some who have not or not Google Earth, let's look at arts and culture. And culture, because arts and culture can also be used by any subject group. You don't have to be only a history teacher or an art teacher
I
or
love the
someone who teaches
360-degree
heritage.
videos they have.
Yes, you know,
I
and
love those.
that's what I was talking about. You know, the 360-degree view can allow you to take your students on a virtual trip. Like even when we were offline, I mean, I could
Yeah,
only take my students once a term, so that's
somewhere in
twice in
Delhi.
a
Yeah,
year because there were other subject teachers who wanted to take them as well. So often I would find myself, you know, taking them on a virtual tour, right? And Google Arts and Culture has a lot of these virtual tours as well. I'm just going to start presenting my screen so that I can just give you a quick walkthrough. Hi, Vani ma'am. You want me to give you a run through of Google My Maps?
of
Uh,
my maps.
okay, we'll see if we can do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is my screen coming up? No, it isn't. Sorry.
not yet. Yeah,
Yeah. I hadn't selected it. Okay, share. It should pop up now.
yeah,
There it
coming
is.
up.
Yeah. So when you open Google Arts and Culture, you'll see a whole lot of things, and I would highly recommend. I can't say highly enough number of times to download the mobile app. It's available on
On it.
both iOS and Android, and you can do some really fun stuff. Right. So, for example, when you open onto the home page, you can see all of these very interesting things. You can see the lights at the Sydney Opera House. I've had the good fortune. I'm a very lucky person. I always feel that I've had, you know, the opportunity to travel to different parts of the world. Not as many as I would have liked, but I have. And Sydney Opera House is one of the places that I have visited, and it's truly beautiful and breathtaking. It's, I think, one of the most iconic buildings in the world today. So these are like wonders of the modern world. If it works, so you can click on this, and you know, for your own viewing pleasure, doesn't always have to be students. I mean, we owe ourselves some pleasure as well. So
Yes.
you can look at how this Australian landmark transforms at night with all the light show that happens around it. Or, for example, if you look at this self portrait of Artemisia, how she presents herself. Or, for example, if I go into masterpieces of ancient Roman art, here, in fact, if I look at something like this, this is super powerful, not only in terms of history, but if you're studying art, if you're looking
Yeah,
at science and engineering, this is something that you can truly explore with your students. It's yeah, you can explore this with your students. You can look at what makes an arch so stable. For example, this is one of those 360-degree views. So if I can't
I
go to
love
Rome,
this.
this is the next best thing I can do,
Yeah,
right? India doesn't allow a lot of street view yet,
a lot of street. Yeah,
largely because of our experiences in terms of security. But we do have 360-degree view of some of the iconic UNESCO heritage sites. One of the most beautiful ones I would recommend is go to Vijayanagar. I personally, in person, went to Vijayanagar, and I think the 360-degree view of Vijayanagar on Google Arts and Culture is the next best thing, right? So yeah, you can then look around, move further using these arrows, and get a kind of an experience that I didn't even need to buy an air ticket. I didn't have to apply for any visas. You know, at will. Your imagination is the only thing that limits you. Um, Going back again to the home page. Um, You can look at world famous museums. Smithsonian, for example, is, I think, one of the most iconic museums in the world. Go in there. Robben Island is very famous because this is where Nelson Mandela was interned for over 26 years, nearly 26 years. And his release from there marked the beginning of the end of apartheid, making the world a better and a more equal place to live in. Forbidden City, again, as I say, I'm super lucky. I got to visit the Forbidden City as well. And again, this is a street view. As you can see, this little man here, who will take you through the Forbidden City without needing to spend a penny on tickets and worrying about visas and the whole process of traveling, worrying whether my luggage will be lost, right? Then, of course, there is this interactive experience, which I think are amazing things. For example, which artwork looks like you? I think this is really super exciting. Work with this with your students,
Okay,
whether you're an art
this is
teacher
fun.
or not. Yeah, this is fun. So you take a selfie and it matches you with an iconic piece of art, or you turn yourself into Vincent van Gogh, play with an art filter. And I love this one, and the kids love this one as well. These are when you kind of click on these. So if we just this is the distraction of the day kind of thing. You want a brain break with your students, for example, you just take them to the Blob Opera. And once and as you see, this comes under Google. Sorry, I'll just hide this. Google Arts and Culture Experiments. So if I say launch the experiment, I'm not sure whether you'll hear the sound because I've got my earphones on, but you can try this out yourselves. And this blob sings bass. So if you understand music, even if you don't, doesn't really matter. And every time, where are the other guys? Okay, it takes a little while, but it works better on the mobile. That's a promise. And there are these 4 guys who will come up, these 4 blobs. And every time you click on a blob and you see his eyes, if you can see that on your screen, his eyes follow my cursor. Okay, so drag
this is so much fun.
And when you have the other 4 blobs, I don't know why they aren't coming in. I think this is a tutorial, sorry.
Tutorial maybe, yeah.
Yes, I think now the other blobs will come. Yes.
So they have all different sounds because we can't hear your sounds.
Yeah, of course. This is such a brain break with my class 12, especially when I have a double period. So right now, double period looks like an hour and a half. So I go crazy, kids go crazy. So I'll quickly, open one of these experiments. Okay, let's have fun for the next 5 minutes. You don't have to submit anything, just go have fun. And as you see, all of their eyes are going to follow where my cursor goes. And I can also press the record button, okay, and make them sing. Okay, I drag them up. Oh, I put him on mute. And I make... Okay, try playing this with yourself, because right now, since I've got my earphones on, you're not hearing the voice, but I just love it. Yeah. And you get your students to record this whichever way they want. And then you can even share your creation. So then ask them to pick up the link and post it in the Google Meet chat or any other thing you're using. And they'll play this and have a lot of fun. And you can laugh or you can appreciate, because some kids come up with some amazing combination of sounds here.
I'm sure.
All right. Yeah. So yes, let's exit this experiment. The blob experiment is my favorite, as you can see, and we do this often. And all of my classes, I currently teach 9th, 11th, and 12th, and they just all love it. So like this lady, she took a picture like this. So she's been added, she's been kind of matched with a lookalike portrait. So play with this, put it up on social media, tag us, and we can have so much fun with that as well. Right, and then this is Garai Sihanouk Wakidi in the 1940s. This is again a painting, and I can click on these dots to kind of really zoom into a painting and look at details. I wish I haven't seen this, so I haven't explored this enough. And I hope they'll bring in Mughal miniatures as well, because those of you who are familiar with Mughal miniatures, the artists themselves actually use magnifying glasses to draw. Some of the elements can't be seen with the naked eye. You need a magnifying glass to see those elements. So that should be interesting to see once that comes in. You choose a favorite color, and then that will probably take you into another activity. So these are brain break ideas that you could use. And this is like across subjects. You don't have to be a art teacher to do, or a history teacher to do any of these. You can have expeditions around the world. There are some ready-made expeditions and some that you can create. So if you're teaching literature, for example, and you want to, let's say you're teaching the Iliad or the Odyssey in particular, and you want to retrace the steps of the hero right through the story, you can get that happening. Or if you want to talk about, let's say, some travel adventure, create your own adventure. So some definitely are ready made for you here. So you can just pick a subject, for example. So there's for science and technology, for example. Let's just click on that if you have science teachers joining us today. Explore. And then, the first thing I spotted was that science is everywhere. Like Vibha says, maths is everywhere, so is science, so is history.
Of course.
My passion subject. And you can see that, again, there are such amazing resources for you to explore with your students. I mean, why do we see a rainbow, for example, or why do we see a certain color? That whole question of light, or when you look at some great minds, some of the best scientific minds of the world, you have a special section on female scientists, especially since we complain that there are not enough girls or women in the STEM area, right? And to infinity and beyond. I mean, who can forget Toy Story? And you can go and explore space and celestial objects. You can look at coding and explore that with your students. So Google Arts and Culture, when it began, was very simple, but as you can see that it's become more and more and more sophisticated, covering so many subject areas, right? And then, of course, the Kalka Shimla Railway, which is a UNESCO certified now, explore that. You can look at the electric grid and how that works. The world's largest aircraft, for example, if your students are interested in air travel and the air travel technology. The only rotating boat lift in the world. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to, after the session is over, I'm going to go and check this out. I think I clicked on it already. Just going back. Then, of course, coming back to Roman engineering. So if you are in the STEM field, you don't have to be a history teacher to talk about the Colosseum in Rome, which is really quite a wondrous building. Did you know, this is a fact that I also learned, that they could flood in the arena, and they actually had naval battles being played out, as a gladiatorial competition. So they actually flooded this in. Yes. So it was not just sand, okay? It was, they filled it with water. They had actually boats which replicated the ships on the sea. And they had this pirate versus, the Romans, or maybe Romans versus another enemy. And they're replicating those battles as well. I mean, I didn't know that either. So that's something I learned. How a steam engine works. Like, it's not just a lot of hot air. Then, of course, the Tower Bridge in London, how that works. So working models, the Peril submarine, for example, how does a recording studio work? How do you capture sound? How do you tweak sound? We have a lot of sophisticated technology today. Even in your mobiles, you might, if I don't sing in tune, if I'm a tuneless singer, you can fix it for me. I can become like Lata Mangeshkar using software. So how does that work? Right? And a mountain which has been hollowed up to create a power station. So amazing stuff going on here. So whatever subject you're teaching, just go in and just explore with your students. You don't have to master this before you explore with your students. And I do this as a brain break all the time, especially when I'm teaching history. Leonardo da Vinci is my favorite. We also talk about Sir Isaac Newton when we talk about Renaissance world, and how science was really changing the world at that time. And there's so many scientists, Copernicus, for example, who hid his discoveries because he was afraid the church would catch him and burn him alive. So he hid his work. It was only his students who made that public. So amazing stories that come up, when you explore Google Arts and Culture. Vibha, what are your thoughts?
I have downloaded the app. I'm on it. That's the next thing I'm going to do. I have actually learned so many new things right now, and I am going to explore all of them, and I'm sure much, much more. So yeah, on it. And really
Google
love
Arts and
that.
Culture. And then don't forget to also explore Google Earth. Some amazing stuff you can do with Google Earth. There are some ready lessons that you can use with your students across subject groups. You can create your own adventures for your students. Students can create their own adventures, as part of a project that you might do with them. And actually, the possibilities are endless, really. The possibilities today are truly endless. We've got a few questions. Thank you, Saravanan sir. Now you say which type of link. So what link, sir, are you referring to? So that would be helpful if I got to understand that.
I think he
The Google
mentioned
My
that
Maps?
during Google Arts and Culture. So arts and culture, what ma'am was showing wasn't a created link. It's just a website. It's a mobile app or a website. So you go there, you do the activities there. The
Yeah.
My
So
Maps
I'll
thing,
just,
what she showed, that has been created through a link.
yeah.
Those are two different things ma'am just discussed.
Culture.google.com. That's the link to arts and culture. You just have to Google, right? Google Baba ki
Yeah.
jai. I love Google,
Yeah.
right?
Arts and culture.
Often my students will ask me a question to which I may not have an answer. So I'll always say, okay,
Absolutely.
you are on the internet, so am I. Go Google and then come
Yeah.
and share with us. We are not the repositories of knowledge anymore. Teaching as a profession
Definitely.
has changed so much. We are now not the sage on the stage anymore. We are kind of more facilitators. We're in the background,
Yeah.
pushing our students. And when we talk about this,
It's
the 6 C's of the 21st century: collaborating, creating, critical thinking.
creating.
Thinking in terms of design. You give them a problem. I've often seen. I'll throw a problem at my students. I want to do this, for example, and then I leave it to them. I said, now at the end of the week, you should tell me how I should do this. I need to do this. I don't know how to do this. You teach me. And they'll come up with ideas. They'll come up with tools that they might discover and say, ma'am, you could try this and see if that works for
And
you.
they come up with many more tools we had no idea about.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. In fact, even the little
Hello,
Google
Sangeeta
Doodle,
ma'am.
it's now a video game. That also, my students alerted me to that. That, ma'am, have you checked out the game which
Yes,
commemorates
that's very
Tokyo
nice.
Olympics?
Yeah,
So
loving it,
yeah, we
loving it.
had some fun with that as well. Welcome, Sangeeta, ma'am.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Sanchita and Vibha, for holding the fort for today. And we did have, unfortunately, a situation where our guest was caught up and has not been able to join in.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to catch up. I was also, for the audience, I was not able to be at home to join in and start the session. So thanks to Sanchita and Vibha, they took
It's
the
all
whole
her.
show
It's all
forward.
her.
Absolutely forward, absolutely, there was not a hitch, and you have covered so many of the things, so many tools beautifully. I think of course Nate has his own expertise, and we will welcome him and we look for hosting him again. But you've shared so many valuable tips. I've been following
Absolutely.
up on the YouTube along the way, and yes, it was great. I think we have all learned something, and the audience is very giving very beautiful comments as well. So I think it
Yeah.
is a good job done. So we have all got something to take back home and practice, right? So is
Definitely.
Sanchita still around? Because I think her frame
I
seems to be frozen
yeah.
on my side.
Yeah. It's frozen. I think that she must have had some connectivity
Yeah.
issue again.
So again, because she did have power cut in between, and she must have moved over to the hotspot. But
Yeah.
yes, coming back to the tools that have been shared, we've had even in our GEG APAC session, we had Caution, I think, was there, who was talking about how
Google Earth.
he's
Yeah.
used Google Earth in his maths classroom. So there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of scope for us to use any of these tools. Once you start thinking about it, you can definitely take them to in various forms. It doesn't have to be, and you don't have to be a social science teacher to
Yes.
use any one of
Yes.
them, right? So I think that is something
Absolutely.
which definitely is important for us. So well, Namrata said she just got a traveler badge, so obviously we are exciting people to do something and go and explore. And the theme of today's session was, well, be an explorer, right? So I think we've via
Yes.
Sanchita and the enthusiasm of our audience who stayed on to watch and to participate, I think we have managed to do that. The journey is, again, as Sanchita, when I just joined in, I was hearing Sanchita was saying that we are not, the teacher is not the sage on the stage. You're just a facilitator. You let the kids explore. So I think Google Maps, Google Earth, all of these are something that definitely can be left to the kids to try out. We just have to start them off. That is how it is. So thank you once again, Sanchita, for
Yes.
holding the fort, showing us so many valuable things. I'm sure we can take them forward and explore in our own ways. And we'll definitely look forward to. I'm sure Nate will be very happy to come back because he does have a very soft corner for India. And he does seem to be very keen on doing this session. So we would look for
Yeah.
a chance. And GG platform is for everyone. In fact, we just finished that in remarkable APAC, GG APAC 3 days event.
Weekend
We are
session.
still
Yeah.
open to ideas. We are still looking for people who would be interested to share what has worked in your classroom. So there's been a certain demand. I've been approached by various teachers to assist them that considering that online teaching is not done and finished. Online teaching is still continuing, whether we go in a hybrid mode, which is much more challenging than being 100% online. So we would definitely love to learn along with you. So whatever has worked
Yes.
in your classroom, if you would like to share it with us, reach out to us, and we would like to see, if we can have one session where we can share these little nuggets with the rest of the audience, and we can make our classroom more enriching. So,
Definitely.
yeah, over to back
Yeah,
to the
absolutely.
host of the day, Sanchita.
Yeah, so I
Show
was
is
just
yours.
looking at some of, I was just reading through some of the comments, and Sudha, who's a maths teacher with us, she's also exploring arts and culture. So I
It's
would,
fun. It's
yeah,
so
it's
much
fun. And
fun.
so do some stuff, like especially, find your matching masterpiece in artwork, take a selfie and identify the famous artwork that you look like. I never got
Yeah.
Mona Lisa, by the way. I always wanted to be like, so I stood like this and all that stuff I did, but I never got matched with Mona Lisa. Maybe someday. Or the girl in the pearl earring. I think that's my favorite painting ever. But I never got that to match with me. So play these little things, take screenshots, share them
Definitely.
on social media, tag us, so that we can amplify it even
I'm
more
on
and
it.
encourage more people to explore these tools and have fun with
On it.
students. And yeah, I think. Yes, so wonderful, and thank you for sticking with us till the end. Even though we can understand, the disappointment. I mean, I am supremely disappointed. I was, really looking forward to, okay, what's Nate going to bring for us today. So yeah, but soon we will be back with him on
Yeah.
board, and it will be a super learning session. Um, and yes,
Right.
anything else which has come up? There are no more questions, right? Which I missed when I was presenting my
Yeah.
screen. No, I don't
No
think so.
questions.
Right.
We will
So
come up with
with
this
that,
same session in detail. So, I mean, all the links and all the things that were coming up, we will talk about those in detail. So, don't worry. Please
yeah,
remember to
Sangeeta ma'am,
catch
we
up
have
with us
two and a
again.
half minutes. We have 2.5 minutes. Have you looked at any of these Google Geo tools in high school math?
I have not actually, but I've been very fascinated with one of these moat sessions that I attended. The sticky moat option that has come in, you can actually add a moat comment through to the Google Earth. So that's
Yes.
one
Yeah.
thing that I want to try out because it doesn't fit in my classroom. I think I have just left it to be okay when I do a session on Google Earth, or if I do a session on Moat, I would. So if I had known I had to demonstrate that today, I would have kept that ready because Google Earth does take a
Yeah.
little time to load and
To
all.
load.
Load.
So
Hmm.
Yeah.
definitely there is a way which is very very fascinating. Is you can have mashup of Moat with Google Earth, so in a
It can
sense
be
that
any
you're kind of
website.
adding a commentary. Yeah, more sticky
Yeah.
notes can be added to any website, but
Any
you can
website.
do it with Google Earth. So it's like giving a commentary, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can record that note about what place you want children to visit, and you can explain something about it as in your own voice, because Moat is all about voice. So and
Yeah.
your own voice, adding that explanation to it, giving them a journey of that place where the students are going to go via Google Earth, and share the link of that with the students. So students, when they click open the link, they not only get to see the place with the same exact place where you want them to be on Google Earth, but they also hear you narrating about it as to why you wanted student to reach that particular part of the globe. So that is something that I'm itching to try, and I'm looking for an opportunity. If nothing else, maybe I'll do it in my maths class and see how they react to it, what
Yeah,
it
it
may
should be an
be. So
interesting brain break activity. I mean, that was something we had
yeah,
been talking about as well.
yes,
That how can we, because it's leading to a lot of fatigue. I know I get very fatigued nowadays. Constantly on a screen, and how can I take a quick break, which is not related to my subject even. So taking that complete break and
Has
then
to be somewhere
coming
else.
back with a fresh mind. So a lot of possibilities as we explored together today as to
yeah,
how you can truly bring your class. I mean, really bring your class together, create a relationship with them, and make them even more enthusiastic about learning than what our current scenario might sometimes, kind of those hurdles that come in our way. So I think
Yeah.
it's been an interesting session today,
Yeah.
and thank you for the support.
challenging, challenging session, I would say, with the
Yeah, I say
Thank
electricity of
challenges always lead to something good. I always believe that challenges
yeah,
always lead to something good. I discovered a few things today on expeditions. I didn't see them last time when I was logged in. So
good, good.
yeah, so and I always say when I present, I learn. It's a learning
Yeah,
experience.
that's
So
true.
again,
True.
encouraging all of you viewers who are with us right now, or perhaps will be joining this recording, if you're interested in perhaps presenting how a session in your class went successful, some experiment that you did, which was truly appreciated by your students and really jettisoned them to learn more. Do get in touch with us, and we'll definitely plan a
Yeah.
session with you as well, because that's what GEG is for. It's not just for us. As we say, we're not the sages on the stage, but to learn from you as well. So with that, let's wind up today's session. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Join us once again. Join us on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram. Go to our website, see what's going on there. Give us your feedback on what we should do, or how you could help us with a certain ICT tool or a certain challenge that
Yeah.
someone might be facing, and how we could sort that out. So without any more further delay, we are going to wish you a very good evening and a very great weekend coming ahead.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.